Welcome to the Car Comparos. Today we will be comparing Maruti-Suzuki Baleno versus Ford Figo Aspire. Pricing and features. The top-end Alpha variant of the Baleno costs 8.11 lakh. For the same price retails the titanium opt variant of the Figo Aspire, whose ex-showroom Delhi price is 8.25 lakh. Hence it may seem like a like-to-like comparison, but in fact the top-end Baleno has way more features than the top-end Figo Aspire, which cost upwards of 50,000 rupees altogether. The Aspire does have 4 extra airbags costing around 25,000 rupees. So overall the Baleno works out to be around 35,000 rupees cheaper than the Figo Aspire. Fuel efficiency. In comparison of the diesel cars, Baleno has an ARAI certified mileage of 27.4 km per litre, which is 1.56 km per litre more than the Figo Aspire's mileage of 25.83 km per litre. However, in our back-to-back tests, the difference was just half a kilometer per litre. This translates to a marginal 10,000 rupees more fuel expenses in the Figo Aspire compared to the Baleno over a usage of 75,000 kilometers. In terms of the petrol cars, the manual geared Baleno has an ARAI certified mileage of 21.4 kilometers per litre, which was 3.24 kilometers per litre more than the Figo Aspire's 1.2 manual's mileage of 18.16 kilometers per litre. In our back-to-back tests, the Baleno was close to 2 kilometers per litre more efficient than the manual Figo Aspire. The CVT automatic transmission equipped Baleno has an ARAI certified mileage of 21.4 km per litre, which is 4.4 km per litre more than the Figo Aspire's 1.5 DCT automatics mileage of 17 km per litre. In our back-to-back tests also, the Baleno was close to 3 km per litre more efficient than the Figo Aspire DCT. This translates to a massive savings of 50,000 and 75,000 rupees with the Baleno in comparison to manual and automatic variants of the Figo Aspire respectively. Performance and drivability. In terms of the petrol cars, thanks to the feather light curb weight, Baleno has noticeably better overall performance and drivability than the Figo Aspire 1.2. But when it comes to automatics, the Figo Aspire triumphs the Baleno, firstly due to a 300cc larger cubic capacity and secondly due to the superiority of its cutting-edge dual-clutch gearbox. Baleno CVT gearbox works like a charm around the city streets, but also does the Figo Aspires, with the shift so smooth that you will hardly notice. On the highway though, Baleno's CVT gearbox is unable to pull back quick overtaking maneuvers since it is not possible to downshift to a lower gear in a continuously variable transmission. Whereas in Figo Aspire's DCT, it automatically drops a cog or two to propel you forward with urgency just by sensing the acceleration position. In terms of the diesel cars, Figo Aspire's diesel engine is superior to the Baleno's by a huge margin, thanks to being 250cc larger than the Maruti's Fiat-sourced engine. It makes full utilization of the government's excise duty exemption. It has none of the turbo lag that the Baleno suffers from, making it effortless to driving around the town. Even the mid-range is significantly stronger than the Baleno's, making it incredibly easy to overtake heavy vehicles on the highway. It is also as free revving and refined, if not better than the Baleno's engine. With 25 bhp more than the Baleno, Figo Aspire has enough top-end performance to make up the extra 125 kg and still have oodles of poke left over to leave any over-ambitious Baleno biting the dust. Handling and ride quality. Baleno's generous wheelbase gives it a slightly more mature and comfortable ride quality than the Swift, but it is still no match for the sublime pliancy and bump smoothing capabilities of the Figo Aspire. And yet the Figo Aspire also far more impressive than the Baleno around the corners. It has a remarkably quick turn-in aided by the excellent mechanical grip and a well-weighted, precise and feelsome steering setup. And in spite of its great ride quality, it has a remarkable lack of body roll as well. Baleno does not even come close to the Aspire in terms of its dynamic capabilities, but on its own, it is a neutral and safe although an unexciting car to throw around the bends. Baleno's over-assisted steering hurting its cause even further due to its dull, lifeless nature. Space and comfort. Both Baleno and Figo Aspire are remarkably spacious and comfortable cars. Baleno has an edge over the Aspire in terms of cabin space, especially the generous front seats and the wider and the more spacious rear bench. However, the Aspire triumphs the Baleno in terms of airiness of the cabin thanks to the bigger glass house and better view all around. Both have generous boots as well, with Aspire at 359-liter capacity being slightly bigger than the Balenos at 339 liters. Reliability and after sales service. Ford is still a long way behind Maruti, the unchallenged leader of service support in India. Suzuki products themselves have proven to be more reliable than the Ford products in India in the past 2 decades. Maruti's service availability, courtesy its 2000 dealers, is immensely more than the 250-300 dealers of Ford. However, that is not a point of differentiation for urban dwellers. Ford does promise a flat servicing cost of 2199 rupees for the Figo Aspire, which will make it highly competitive with Baleno's service costs if Ford dealers honor their promise without looking for any loopholes. But still, at the end of an ownership period of 5 to 7 years, the Baleno is bound to depreciate at least 30,000 rupees, lesser than the Figo Aspire, going by the vast difference in resale prices, Desires and Fiestas of the same vintage. And now for the verdict. Thus, the overall cost of ownership of a diesel Baleno works out to be 65,000 rupees less than a diesel Figo Aspire. But for those extra 65,000, you will get a car that will absorb the dozens of bumps you ride over every day better than the Baleno, and also feel superior while taking every other corner. It will accelerate quicker at every traffic signal and will be more effortless at every overtaking maneuver you pull. That makes it far better value for money as well as a more fundamentally sorted car than the Baleno. If you are a petrol customer though, you are better off with the Baleno. Firstly, the Baleno will end up saving 1 lakh rupees compared to equivalent petrol Figo Aspire over a ownership period of 5 to 7 years. Secondly, it's the Baleno which has a better performance than the Figo Aspire, and although the Aspire still rules in dynamics, that is not enough to rule in its favor. If you are looking for an automatic, then again Figo Aspire is a better option than the Baleno, given it has a bigger engine, more features, better performance, better dynamics, and hence a far more satisfying ownership experience, which is well worth the extra money over the Baleno CVT.